Agnieszka, the floor is yours for this part.
Super, thank you very much. Indeed, let's start from strategic description. It's probably this part of the application form that you're most familiar with because it's the very first one. But still, let's maybe recap some important aspects and let us emphasize what is really, really important for us when we will be, and our experts specialized in the topics of the call, when they will be assessing these particular elements of your application form. So first of all, you are hearing that constantly from us, but this is really the most important aspect, is the innovativeness of the project proposal. And the clear demonstration that what you're proposing, your solution, your ideas are innovative is really a key for us. So please don't assume that what you're drafting, what you're proposing is innovative. You need to check it. You need to demonstrate it. We would like you to demonstrate in what extent the solution has never been tested before at EU level. So not necessarily the solution, we are not really looking for solutions that are new for your city or maybe are not well tested in your country, but we are looking at to have solutions that have never been tested before at EU level. Very, very important aspect. And maybe also let me explain that what you see in the bracket, so this mysterious code C.1.4, you will see a lot of those. These are actually explicitly boxes in the application form that we are referring to. So you can compare it with the application form and make sure not make any mistake where to draft the answers. Of course, your solution must be related to the main components and in this innovative part. So it can be something extra. It must be really the core of your proposal. And in order to demonstrate that your solution is innovative, we also want you to run a benchmarking exercise. So at least 3 references of already existing best practices to justify that your solution and how your solution is differentiating from them. So we want you to tell us what is already existing in Europe and how you go beyond that. What is new? What you're adding to already existing best practices. To do that, we advise you to use really many existing online databases. You can reach out to your networks. Please use also scientific literature. Consult with the experts specialized in the topic. Here we list some of the databases that are available online that you can use. Cordis, Eurocities database, Urbag database, Energy City. There are really many of them, and in the application form, we also give you some other examples. Another important aspect is that one of the very first questions that we are asking you in the application form is we ask you what is or what are the challenges that your project is trying to address. Describe the challenge, but also back the challenge with tangible evidences, with statistics, with data, with dates, with figures. Try to be really very, very precise. And moreover, if your project relates to a particular district, for example, in the city, try to provide us with data not only at the city level, but also at the district level. If your project relates to particular target groups, for example, try to match your data, your figures also with this particular target group. So try to be as specific as possible. So we will be able to deeply, properly understand what is the challenge you're trying to address and how deep is this challenge. So how deep is the problem. Of course, we are following throughout application form all the key principles of New Leipzig Charter, and one of these principles is integrated approach. So we also want you to demonstrate that your project is following integrated approach, so integrating spatial, economic, social, environmental aspects. So you're really approaching your challenge and proposing your solution in a good integrated manner. The solution must bring added value to the topic of the call. So make sure that you stay in line with the topic of the call. and that you're not diverging somewhere to other areas. It must be really in line with the topic, with one of the topics of the call. We are also looking for city-led innovation. What does it mean? It means that we are looking for projects that are proposed by the cities, and cities are able to demonstrate their clear ownership of this proposal, meaning that the city is playing a strategic role here. The city leads the partnership. The city is committed to scale up the solution if it will be successful. The city is the strategic brain of this solution. So there is a box in this application form where we ask you to demonstrate this leading role of the cities in creating the partnership, in genesis of the proposed solution. Very, very important. Another important aspect is partnership and co-creation. We want you to make sure that all the necessary actors are with you around this table. So you have all the partners that you need to implement the solution together with you. And that this composition of this partnership must be convincing to deliver the project. So you need to have a relevant expertise and experience around the table. Make sure you have a really good, strong partnership. It's recommended that your partnership is representing what we call a quadruple helix. So basically that you have actors from different sectors with you around this table. So you have a representative of public sector. This can be different levels of governance, but you also have business, industry, academia, experts, and very important, civil society as well. Partners' roles and involvement in activities must be very clearly defined. So we are not looking for token partners. And what's very important is that we ask you to describe your partnership in part C of the application form, but we will also be carefully during the assessment stage, we will also be carefully analyzing your partnership in the work plan. So we want to see that your partners have sufficient budget allocated, that they have clear responsibilities related to particular activities. So these are not just token partners, these are real partners who are directly involved in implementing your project with reasonable budget, with reasonable responsibilities, and reasonable experience and expertise to be able to do it in a professional manner. Participation and engagement of wider group of stakeholders is also important in the spirit of this co-creation. So on the ladder of participation, we are not looking at the very bottom level of participation, but we want to see a bit more advanced approach leading to co-creation. So having your local community together with wide range of your urban actors and stakeholders also involved in the project. So they will not be directly involved in implementing the solution, but there must be on your radar, they must be mapped by you. So they must be identified and they must be involved across different project phases. So also pay attention to involve your wide group of stakeholders throughout the project, throughout project phases, from planning through implementation, all the way until evaluating, summarizing the project. Also try to be specific and quantify and explain to us what are your target groups or what is your target groups. So who are the end users benefiting from the project? Try to provide an estimation how many people will benefit from the project and its results, and try to be specific exactly who are the target groups. For those of you who are familiar with UIA, so the predecessor initiative, you probably noticed that there is a stronger emphasis on monitoring, evaluation, measurability. So let's recap what we expect regarding objectives and results. So we ask you to define your overall objective, and overall objective is a long-term change that the project intends to contribute beyond its duration. So this is the strategic ambition of your project. We also ask you to define maximum 3 strategic objectives. So what the project is trying to achieve during during its duration, so a bit narrower scope. And we want you to make sure that your strategic objectives are very relevant to the scope of the project. So they are well covering the scope of your project, but they are also specific, they are well described, they are concrete, they are achievable, and they are, you will be able to evaluate them at the end of the project. So make sure, dedicate some time to defining properly your strategic objectives. And naturally, we also want you to define your expected results. So expected results are the ones that are capturing the changes generated from the project in the local context. So ask yourself questions. What will the local situation look like if the project is successful? What will be this midterm change at the local level? What is the immediate advantage for your beneficiaries? These are the questions that will help you defining expected results. Of course, your expected results must be linked to specific objectives, so everything needs to compose this logical intervention logic, therefore the name intervention logic. They should also be specific, realistic, of course, so achievable during the implementation period and measurable. And also, you probably are already very well aware that some indicators for result indicators are predefined in terms of reference. So we would like you to look into those and take the relevant ones, consider them and include them in your TOR. It's quite important for us to see that you analyze them and the relevant ones are included by you in your application form. And of course, we will be also assessing the robustness of the methodology for data collection and measurement. But that also will be done at the work plan level. And finally, what we are looking for is, of course, we are looking for some demonstrations, some proofs that there is a chance that your project proposal will be sustainable in a long-term perspective. So your project results will be sustainable in a long-term perspective after the funding of this project will be concluded. So we want you to demonstrate and to reflect on this aspect already from the very, very beginning of planning your project, that the solution will provide a significant and durable contribution to addressing the challenge you are trying to target here. When we say significant, we are also interested in understanding more and seeing that your target groups, your expected results, your outputs do have a sufficient scale to contribute to the project objectives. So it's a bit a question of, kind of value for money question. But also we want to see that you are reflecting on durability of your proposal, so that some continuation beyond project end date. So please demonstrate to us what are the expected lasting effects on the territory and population. But also please reflect from the very beginning who will be owning the solution. If you're, for example, if you're building a new building or you're delivering in infrastructure, who will be owning the infrastructure? Who will be responsible for activities there? Who will pay for these activities when the financing from EUI will be over? These are very important questions to reflect from the very, very beginning, and provide us with some answers so we can see that you have some ideas regarding those. And finally, we are also interested, of course, we are experimenting here, we are piloting new ideas, but if your experimentation at the end of the day will be successful, we will be interested in understanding how you would like to scale up your solution. And we are using two terms here. We are talking about transferability, and when we talk about transferability, we are thinking about transferring your solution to other EU cities, And we are talking about scaling up. And when we talk about scaling up, we think about your city level. So in which parts of the city can your solution be replicated, scale up, how you want to more broadly put it into practice and use it. But also what type of resources you will need and will you have them? That's also something that is worth reflecting on at the very beginning of the project, even if you will not have all the answers at the beginning, because that's natural, but this discussion must start with really day one of drafting your project proposal. And I think with this slide, we reached the end of this first presentation. So I guess, Kathleen, we can see if we have already some questions.
Yes, we do have quite a lot of questions, which is really good to see, and please keep them coming. Just for you to know, so with my colleague Isa, we're kind of trying to group the question, and we'll try to take them at the same time of the presentation. So don't be surprised if we don't answer your question from the very start. Maybe we feel that it is more relevant for a section later on. If you like on Slido, and I'm sure you're very well aware of this, you can like the question if there is another question you're interested in, so that it kind of goes up, and we know that there's a lot of people interested in it. And should it be too specific to your project, or if we don't have time to answer all the questions today, you can always email us, and we'll give you the email address at the end of the session. So the first question that we thought could be nice with this intervention is about the civil society. So Agnieszka, you mentioned them earlier on. So do I always need to have a civil society representative among the partnership, or can it be involved only as a wider group of stakeholders via a participation process?
Very good question. Thank you very much, Kathleen. As we mentioned, you need to compose your partnership in a way that will be relevant for your project. So it's up to you to analyze whom you need around the table, but we strongly recommend to look into all different sectors and analyze quadruple helix to make sure that you are not missing anyone. And especially civil society is quite important here. Especially, again, let me remind you about some key principles of the New Leipzig Charter and the idea of co-creation processes and making sure that your civil society, your local communities are with you in this process of developing different solutions at the urban level. So it's definitely worth analyzing, is civil society not really needed as a partner? Is it enough to have them as a wider group of stakeholders? So at the end, compose your partnership as it's needed, but we strongly advise you to have this strong discussion about all the sectors and their representation around the table to make sure that you are not missing anyone.
Thank you, Agnieszka. Yeah, I guess it's also about how you involve them and to which extent you do a meaningful participation process as well. We have another question on the partnership that can be interesting. So I have one partner from another country. Is it allowed, or must the partnership be only local?
Mm-hmm. It is allowed, so let me start from here. It is allowed to have partners from other cities in your country or from other countries, but also let me stress that the EUI methodology is trying to support, incubate in a way, you might say, local innovative ecosystems. So we definitely look into local innovative ecosystems, and we look into having local partners around the table, but we easily can imagine, and we have these kind of situations that, for example, you need specialists specialized in certain topic, and it's only, you have good specialists, but they are working at the university in another city or even in another country. So please involve them, but also explain to us in the application form why you had to reach beyond your local partnership. So explain to us that the expertise is there that you're missing in your, in your local, let's say, environment, and that's the reason why you're inviting also someone from other parts of your country or from other countries to your partnership, and also make sure that this partner will be able to meaningfully contribute. So fact that they are located a bit farther away will still allow them to contribute in a meaningful way, take part in your management activities, so they will really be able to be true delivery partner and true element, true member of your partnership.
Thank you. Maybe another one, very short one that is quite technical. So when you fill in your application form, is the legal representative in the description of the MUA the person who has to sign the confirmation sheet at the end when you submit?
So we expect you to sign the confirmation sheet with by legal representative of your municipality, but that can be at different levels depending on your municipality. Sometimes it can be only a mayor. Sometimes this right can be delegated to even head of department. So it's really up to you who is signing the confirmation sheet. But the important fact is that the person who is signing has a right to do it because is a legal representative of your municipality.
Yeah. Actually, we won't check that the legal representative in the MUA section and in the confirmation sheet is exactly the same person, but it's really up to you to make sure that the one signing the confirmation sheet is actually entitled to sign it on behalf of the main authority.
Thank you very much. So jumping back onto the previous topic that we were mentioning, so everything linked to participation of the local group of stakeholders. How do we explain this in the application form? Do we need to provide evidence or only describe it? Like, for example, if there was a participatory process before, should it be submitted as an annex, as evidence, etc., or is it sufficient to just describe it in the application form?
If your participation processes and involvement of your wider group of stakeholders started already before and already at the drafting, which is really great, it will be good to know it. So please write about it in the application form that already certain steps were taken, already your, I don't know, maybe local community or any other group of stakeholders was already involved. You can use annex. Let us just remind you that for those of you who, it's a bit different answer, but maybe it's important to emphasize this as well. Please remember that annex should serve only as something additional. So do not include the key answers on the questions that we ask in the application form in the annex, because annex is just illustrative. So if we will not find the answers to our questions in the application form, we will not be able to give you points, because annex should serve only as something extra to provide us with some illustrations or maybe a map or maybe a chart that will explain your management structures. So if that is something key for the description of your solution, make sure that it's in the application form. But definitely it's a good sign that you already started your participatory processes before even submitting the project proposal, and we would be very happy to learn about it in your application form.
Thank you, Agnieszka. And yes, very important to mention, like, don't hide key information in the annexes. That's also something we need to stress out. We mentioned also, again, the partnerships and that it's key to have all the relevant local partners. But could you define what we mean by local partnership? Could we involve potentially the regional and national level as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, of course. We also mentioned that, and sometimes it's very, very relevant for proposals, especially if you need some permits from other levels of your government, from the regional level or even from the national level. Definitely feel free to involve other public institutions, other levels of governance. So when we talk about this local partnership, let me come back to this idea of incubating local innovative ecosystem. So in principle, we are looking at the partnership composed more or less at the city level or functional urban area level. But again, if you feel that you need a partner coming from the outside, you're free to invite this partner. It would be only important for us to understand why this partner is being involved. And it can be an explanation that simply the expertise is somewhere else because the university specialized in the topic you're covering is located in another country, and there are the EU class level expert located there who will be supporting you. So it's possible. In principle, we look for local partnership, but if you need someone else, invite them, explain why, and we will be interested to learning a bit more to understand why this partnership is composed in a certain way.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we can move to the next sections because I think we've covered most of the questions related to the strategic description of the application form. So we'll keep the ones coming for the next sections. So up to you, Camille.
Thank you.